Later on tonight, April 27th at 10 p.m. Pacific Time, the live servers for PUBG on Xbox One and PS4 will go down for maintenance. They'll be down for approximately 4 hours, and once they come up, Update 7.1 along with Survivor Pass Season 7 will be live. Now I've already gone over pretty much everything that's included with this patch, but I wanted to consolidate it in one video and let you know everything that you can expect when Update 7.1 hits the live servers. Now unfortunately for us on console, we did not get a chance to play this on the PTS, and I really hope that's something that they don't regret because there are some major changes in Update 7.1. Now before we get into it, make sure to like the video if you find it useful and subscribe to stay up to date on everything that I publish. First and foremost, Vikendi is back. Of course, everyone knows that by now probably. Vikendi is being added back into the map rotation, and now there are 5 maps in PUBG for the very first time. As you probably know, Vikendi was removed back in Season 6 when Karakin was added, where they promised to update the map and re-energize it and make it an overall better experience. Now will it be that? We'll just have to play it and find out, but Vikendi is definitely one of my favorite maps on PUBG. It's just so unique, and I like a lot of the battles that you can get into on the map, so needless to say, I am excited for its return. And as far as map selection goes for this patch, Vikendi is going to be the featured map, and then the other 4 maps are going to be in a random queue, so if you want to play Vikendi, you can, and if you want to try any of the other maps, you'll have to just randomly try and get one of the 4. I don't believe there's a quick join option where you can just randomly queue between the 5 maps, so you'll just have to make a decision. And they say they want to do that for at least the first 2 weeks of the pass, but we'll just have to see how it goes. And I've went over all the changes on Vikendi before, but I'll just quickly roll through them just so you guys know. Trains have been added to Vikendi. They now run throughout certain portions of the map, and there are 6 connected tracks overall. And they are boardable, but I just saw a video on Twitter that Wacky Jackie posted. Please don't try and parachute onto it because it causes some major problems, it seems. Overall, it seems like the trains have a bit of wonkiness to them. There's some bugs related to them that I've seen, so I'm not really sure how much I'm going to interact with them, but it's just something new to the game. There's also some new areas, some areas that have been reworked, and some areas that have just been completely erased from the map altogether. Dino Park is now Dino Land, and it's much bigger and it has a lot more to it. Abbey has been removed from its previous location and has been put right on top of Mount Kresnik. The buildings at Mount Kresnik are no more. And like I said, some areas have been completely wiped out, and Tovar and Movatra see the most of that. They are gone from the map. And you'll probably notice there's less snow now on Vikendi. They're calling it a spring thaw, but really I think what it is, it's going to help the visibility, or at least that's what they're saying. I really like the snow on Vikendi, so I'm sad to see some of it go, but it doesn't seem as bad as when they first teased it. There seems to be a little bit more snow than what they originally planned. There's also a new sniper rifle being added to the game, the Mosin Nagant, and this one's being added with a little bit of a controversy because they say that it has basically all the same stats as the Kar 98. And you'll only be able to find the Mosin on Vikendi and Erangel. A lot of people were unhappy with this. They didn't want a gun that was exactly the same as another, just basically a reskin. But I don't really think that's that big of a deal. If they didn't tell us that it had the same exact stats as the Kar 98, would anybody honestly notice besides maybe if Wacky Jackie made a video on it and found out? But even then, does it really matter? Because the gun has a different sound, it has a different look to it. I don't really care if the bullet trajectory and bullet speed are the exact same as a different weapon. But then again, I don't even care if they added the gun in the first place, so maybe I'm the wrong person to give an opinion on that. And another thing that's being adjusted in Update 7.1 is the M249. Once again, they're changing the weapon. They're not putting it back in the crates. I think most people want to put it back in the crates, but for some reason, they're sticking to their guns and they want to keep this thing as a world spawn. But they are saying that they're listening to community feedback, so if people still are unhappy about the gun and they want it back in the crates, maybe eventually we'll see that happen. But for now, the only change they're making is the recoil. They're increasing it by another 50% to make it harder to control. They're still keeping the 75 and 150 round magazines non-extended and extended, and I think that's the biggest issue, 150 rounds. Even with this additional recoil that we're going to have to control, I think 150 rounds is just too much. But I've said way too much about the M249 lately, and if you're still unhappy about it, maybe reach out to them on Twitter or on the forums, and then in the future maybe we'll get the gun back in the care package. And probably the biggest thing in this patch, which came out of nowhere because we didn't know about it until these patch notes came out. There was nothing mentioned, there was nothing hinted about it at all. Bots are now being added to the game. Once Update 7.1 goes live on console, you will potentially see bots in your game. Now initially it looks like bots are going to be implemented for new players. They'll have bots in their public matches to give them a bit of a fresh start in the game, because if you play right now as a new player against players that have been playing for 2.5 years on console, you're at a huge disadvantage because the game is so hard to get used to and so hard to play. So I think this is just to help people get familiar with PUBG and everything that goes along with it. And they even mentioned that the ratio of bot opponents will decrease as players become more familiar with the game. Bots are also going to be added to lobbies that have a hard time filling the match and actually getting a match to play out. So different regions or different play settings like first person perspective that struggles a lot with getting a full lobby, we'll probably see some bots in there just to fill the matches so you can actually play in a reasonable time. But what we still don't understand is what does that actually mean for a player like me? I play on third person perspective in North America. I get matches within seconds as soon as I push the button. And I've been playing the whole time the game has been out. So will I see just a couple bots in my game? Will I see 10? Does every match have a maximum and a minimum amount of bots that are allowed? All of these details aren't really mentioned, so we'll just have to see and experience it for ourselves, I guess, once update 7.1 comes out. I'm just hoping that the really experienced players don't have to interact with bots if they don't want to, and eventually maybe this can be something that's turned off. But either way, like I said, bots are being added to the game. Let's see what they can actually do, because they can't interact with everything like a normal player can. At least not yet, they're still working on them. Bots can walk, run, crouch, prone, shoot, vault, swim, parachute, and loot. Leaning, jumping, ledge grab, and the use of throwables will be added at a later date. And I didn't see driving in there, so I don't know if they can actually drive vehicles. Maybe that's a good thing. I'm sure this is going to be something that's constantly tweaked and constantly changed just because the bots are going to behave a certain way and it's either going to upset players or it's going to be too easy, and they'll have to make some changes and just see how things go. And of course, with update 7.1, it's a new season, Season 7. And that also brings a new Survivor Pass Cold Front. Survivor Pass Cold Front has a theme to it and it sticks to it, that's for sure. I will not be purchasing this pass this time because I just don't have any interest in anything that's included in it. I made a video going over the Season 7 Survivor Pass and what's included in it and how I just don't have any interest in what they offer. And a lot of people say, well, if you don't like it, don't wear it. That's fine. Well, the problem is I'm not going to buy the pass, which makes me want to play the game less because I don't have missions to complete. If I don't care at all about the missions, I'm definitely not going to be playing PUBG solo because I don't enjoy the game that way, and I'll basically only be playing the game when my friends want to. I've kind of burnt myself out on PUBG lately because I've been grinding these passes and trying to get to level 100 every season, and I was hoping that Season 7 would offer something that would get me excited for the game and get me wanting to play more, but after seeing what Survivor Pass Cold Front had to offer, I knew right away that I wasn't going to be purchasing the pass, and therefore I would not be actually playing the game as much as I was hoping. Mix that with the slew of recent issues that the console version of the game has had, I'm just not very excited to fire up PUBG anymore. But as we mentioned that, let's go over some performance and stability fixes along with the bug fixes that should be included with this patch. In update 7.1, they greatly reduced instances of hitching during gameplay, and they'll continue to make further optimizations where possible. They also optimized the drop mesh of weapons and attachments in the world to reduce memory usage, and if you're not aware, when memory usage gets too high, that's when you start crashing. There are a total of 45 bug fixes with this patch, so I'm not going to obviously go over every single one, but I thought I'd call out just a few that I think are very important. They fixed an issue where players could unintentionally use AR, DMR, or snipers in the motorcycle's rear seat. They fixed an issue while holding throwables. In certain situations they could fall to the ground and emit effects for that player without the grenade actually being used. And I'll do one more here. They fixed an issue on Karakin where an entrance to a cave is open and displayed in player's screen, but they're not allowed to enter. This happened to me one time when I came back from crashing. I wasn't able to actually exit a hole that we blew open. Even though I could see straight through it and I could shoot through it, I was not able to jump through. Now I've seen a lot of weird bugs lately when I crash or if I quit the game and come back because of some weird issue. Strange things just seem to happen. Like I said, I couldn't get out of a hole that we blew open in Karakin. A match on Sanhok, I couldn't see my friend's tag, so I quit out of the match and then came back just so I could see it. And then lo and behold, I could not see my weapons that were equipped, any of the attachments, where they were, what scopes I had, anything. It just was invisible to me. And then just recently my friend crashed and he came back into the match. And he could run through buildings. They were all Play-Doh and nothing was rendering in properly no matter how long we stayed in that location. Also, our vehicle went through the map for no apparent reason. So if things like that keep happening in update 7.1, if some of these things aren't properly fixed, or if there are a slew of new bugs that are added to the game with the patch, I think, like I said, this very well may be my last season. Honestly, I'm just getting tired of the same old issues over and over, and I'm really getting sick and tired of the game screwing me over. But you guys will have to let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of the new patch? What do you think of bots being added to the game first and foremost? And then are you excited to play Vikendi again finally on console? Also be sure to like the video if you found it useful and subscribe to stay up to date on everything that I publish. And remember to follow me on Twitter at YTBoris15. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.